Kamalnath, President of IMT Nagpur, Shri Subhajit Bhattacharjee, Acting Director of IMT Nagpur, faculty of IMT Nagpur, parents of the graduating students, and dear students. Thank you for inviting me to address you today. It's truly an honor for me to be chief guest on this occasion. The stars of today are not sitting on the dais or in the front side. The stars of today are all sitting behind. You are the stars today. You are graduating today with your parents in your mind or next to you and getting started with a completely new life. You've been studying so far, and now you're going to go ahead and implement whatever you have studied or whatever the studies have inculcated in you. I know you will remember these days with great fondness all your life. I too had one such day, the last day of college, in an engineering college in Coimbatore. And I didn't have a job in hand, most of you have. And 67 was a very bad period. And I was wondering what to do, so I went and saw 3 films that day. You know, the matinee, the evening show, and the night show. I said, now what do you do the next day? So I said, let's go home now. So I went home and really started looking at newspapers to see that what kind of job I should take. I had not planned anything like management education. Quite frankly, I now am chairman of a company which employs 5,000 business school graduates. And I did not even know that you could go and study management. I completely unaware of something called Indian Institutes of Management. This is, in the 60s. Amongst the jobs which were there at the time, the highest paying job was the management trainee of levers or senior management trainee of DCM. Okay. Parents of the graduates, you may remember such a thing existed. So it was a princely sum of 950 rupees per month. Okay. And I went through the papers. I said, let me now take a shot at this. But I said, this management business, I don't understand. But here they say your year is divided into 2 parts. One half you will learn what we do, and the other half we'll teach you management. I said, maybe I could cover up this gap and go and work here. On top of you, they pay you a princely sum. You're going to face similar problems, what I said. Okay. Here, I come from official Tamil Nadu. I couldn't put 2 words in Hindi together. Okay. Absolutely not. Hindi was not taught there. And the English which I spoke will need translation because it was very Tamilized English. I'll think in Tamil and speak in English. However, I applied for this job. It says, let's see what, there's no harm applying. Let's see what's ahead. I got the job. They had a lot of quantitative tests. Later on, I was told that I topped the country in almost all the tests. So they picked me up, brought me all the way to Delhi. And Delhi Cloth and General Mills, in that year, 1968, was the 4th largest by way of revenue in India. The first and second were, they were not sure whether Tatas and Birlas were first and second. Third was Mafatlal's. Fourth was DCM. I don't remember how it went till the 10th. So I was there in the interview, and the chairman of the interview board, Lala Bharatram, he asked me, you have an impeccable record. What do you want to become? I had no hesitation in saying that I want to become chairman of the board of DCM. The people in the interview board, they were all the board of directors. There was a little bit of murmur. It says, will he make it? So if he makes it, what happens of all of them? So I just laughed and came away. But I made very good use of the training. One thing which happened was that I was unafraid of failure. And it is not just by sheer nature, but I didn't really expect to succeed. If I just went back to, I lost my father when I was young, to my mother's place and knocked at the door, and I couldn't cut it in North India. She would have felt, it's okay, you don't even speak the language. So I absorbed as fast as I could. If you're supposed to do one project, there was an occasion, supposed to do one project, I did 8. I would sleep 5-6 hours, and at that age, 23, you're like a blotting paper. I was just absorbing everything I picked. Along with which, one of the pieces which I picked was the formation of the microprocessors. The field of digital electronics took 2 steps. First was transistor. There was a Nobel laureate, and then there was an IC, integrated circuits. There was a Nobel laureate as well. Okay. I want all of you to know, your timing is impeccable. LED, the inventor of LED also is a Nobel laureate. And the opportunities LED will open out will be immense. If what microprocessors opened out is dimensioned at 1 billion, this will be several trillions. Okay. But that's your opportunity. My opportunity at that time was to absorb. And somehow something told me, okay, this is pretty daring. Okay. A group of friends of mine and I used to sit down and crib every evening. Okay. How many of you crib every evening? No one cribs here? No one has any complaints? Yeah, I see some back row people raising their hands. Okay. So my friend's wife, Kiran, she was hanging around. I said, you boys complain all the time. If you think that running a business is so easy, why don't you just go out and build one? It was such an accident. I was very tempted to go ahead. I was dating at that time, not yet married. Went ahead and said that, okay, let's to hell with this. We're going to just go out and do this. And there came Hindustan Computers Limited. This friend of mine whose wife I was referring to, he studied in Doon School with Kamal. That's how I got to know him. Okay. We formed Hindustan Computers Limited. He came to the office and sat on the chair, and he said, why are you doing this? You people are doing a good job. You're being paid very well. And do you think you will be able to make a computer? Hey, chalega. I said, chalega nahi hai, daudega. So it did. And in the process, I also convinced him to buy some shares in the company. And you also carry luck. They say that those who are daring will carry some luck. We announced this 8-bit microprocessor-based computer on the 7th of August, 1977, to be delivered in 78. Okay. And in the afternoon, I heard IBM has decided to withdraw from India. I came back to office, called the advertising agency, and most people would have said, there is no need to advertise because you're going to go and fill a gap. I changed that, said, release a full-page advertising. From here on, there is going to be only HCL when it comes to computers. There was a little bit of daredevilish attitude. IBM left, and then the momentum creation, the need creation was already done, and we came in and filled it. And it was a difficult period. It was impossible to import anything. Okay. The duty structures was 400%, and the day-to-day plights of doing this were of a different nature. You too, if you become an entrepreneur, will have such day-to-day plights, but it will be of a different nature. Okay. Today, it's of a different nature. Okay. You'll probably fight for talent to join your dreams, which may be more difficult than probably what we were able to do. From there, it has been, well, a dream run. It's not easy. We were very quick. We were very innovative. We responded to opportunities. We went through problems and struggles together. And we were open enough to start a management training system within 6 years of starting the business. And we went to the business school 6 months before HCL was incorporated. We said, if we have to do this, we have to go to business school and get the best brains, because that alone will cut it. And it did. Result. She told, she gave you all the result, took all the suspense away. It is 6.5 billion, and actually it is 6.8 billion. It is 105,000 people, a number of countries, the customers that we serve are not very different. But in the years in which it was tough to sell computers because very few people understood, we decided to form a company to teach computers. It is called NIIT. Most of you would have heard of that, NIIT. It was created in 1982 to teach computing systems. Actually, without that institution being formed, it would have been tough for computers to spread in India. It was formed, again, had a dream run, listed in 1993. NIIT and Infosys listed within 15 days of each other. Okay. It was a tough market, but they came out successfully. Now is the most important point. 1997, NIIT's value crossed 1 billion. That means it took from 1968, from starting working, publicly acknowledged market ranking was crossing $1 billion. That would make it 29 years, right? So 68 to 39 years maybe. To be the third largest valued company in India, all India. This is a group of people who joined the company to work, the fourth largest, crossing all the way over to become the third largest. All that it took was very high caliber entrepreneurship and never say die attitude, and picking up opportunities and learning from them and then grabbing it and running with it all the way. When you do this, you have also to constantly keep identifying the opportunities. When I say opportunities, it's not that I did them. It's just that we have institutionalized entrepreneurship. When, let's say if you look at what happened in 1992, there was a major scam in the capital market. There was a new government, came with a great deal of expectations, and the capital market went up and then it crashed. So I had served with Dr. Manmohan Singh in the Planning Commission as a member technology. So one day he called me and said, is there any respite from here? I said, I quite don't know, but I can find out if technology has any answers. And I did, because I really am a patriotic Indian. Said that without a capital market, we can't get anywhere. And a capital market which is screen-based means a telecom system that has to work. And we didn't have any telecom system. If you go back that far, there was no telecom system, either cellular or fiber-based. So the only way that this can perhaps responded to is, at that time, a 300 millisecond latency was tolerable. Yeah, the stock exchange brokering models were not so advanced that within 300 milliseconds you could cut it. Today, even 5 milliseconds is not good enough, but at that time it was good enough. A satellite-based system means it's beamed up to the satellite and it picks it up from another terminal. It's a very simple eco-principle. And I went with that plan. It said that this is what is possible. This exists in Israel. You could possibly use this, but you'll have to form a stock exchange yourself. Then I left it. Then National Stock Exchange was formed, and they invited organizations all over the world to build a satellite-based trading system. Never been done before. India's capital market is at stake. Whichever company that got should have to have experience in dealing with this. We didn't have any experience. We knew it. Theoretically, we knew the answers. AT&T competed. Finally, HCL and AT&T at that time was a colossal giant, really colossal giant. And HCL, which is just about crossed 200 crores. There are two companies which were in the bid. And we were chosen for a very strange reason. Okay. Our president would say that possibly is a real right reason. We were chosen because we were an Indian company. It was an Indian application, and the country would suffer. So, laughingly, Dr. Manmohan Singh said that शिव तो कहीं जाएगा नहीं, ज़्यादा जाता दिल्ली से बॉम्बे जाएगा, हम उनको तो यहाँ पकड़ लेंगे. They just put a date and do it within this. I said, I don't know whether it is possible to do. He said, you also don't know whether it is not possible to do. That's hell of a logic, you know. You would have learned so much of planning, but this is a logic with which they just landed this contract with us. And then the happiest news came further. They said that it has to be an Indian satellite. Indian satellites don't follow any international norms. We have our own norms so the transponders that we have to build upwards, everything had to be, custom made. And 1 week before, of course, anything nice happens means everything goes on plan, something has to fall apart. The satellite, you all know, if you know a bit about satellite engineering, the satellite died. Okay. So they said, now we have to shift it to another satellite. So all the angles in which the VSATs are kept. VSATs are nothing but you must be using for television these days. Okay. So there are 22,000 such VSATs which have to be changed in angle to put this. Okay. It was a nightmare. It worked. All trading conducted. Since then, HCL manages it, and we have not missed a trade. Okay. So this is courage. You have to be paranoid that at every point of time that it may fail. You build your own, fault tolerances, the way you work. Am I out of time? Okay. He has some other speech to write, I can notice. This is going back right at the time. You know, when you build fail-safe, sometimes you say that this is the product that you want to succeed, and I will produce couple so that maybe that it'll look after its own cash flows. Okay. So we went on to build a mini computer company. Okay. And along with this, we said that let's also put in an 8-bit Mac processor. It is simpler in architecture and design. And those days, long, long ago, I would say, in the days which you couldn't imagine, there was something called punch cards. You use punch cards in which you wrote your programs and fed it. Your data also was fed. That's your data entry device, punch card machines, as well as the media. We thought that we would use mini floppies. Mini floppies were not known. The first thing somebody would gun down is it's a very unreliable media. Okay. How do you even work with this media? We said that's where we put our bet on technologically. Later on, it turned out that that was the winner. Whether it was Apple or every other organization chose mini floppies, 5.25-inch mini floppy, not the micro, which is 3.5 inches. That became the industry standard. We built a machine using that, and we'll use that for data entry and use that mini floppies for media. These two were interim products. Said we'll kill them once a mini computer is ready. Mini computer bombed. We never built one. The one which was built had fundamental design architecture flaws. And the 8-bit machine which we built, that lived 10 years. And the mini floppy drive, key to mini floppy drive which we built, lived 18 years. And to roaring profitabilities. You know, they were all, today, a hardware person will be happy if he has got a gross margin of 8%. Those days, we used to sell at gross margins of between 85% to 90%. And it was not just the product, it is just a concept. We sold computerization, not just the hardware pieces. You know, it is just that something is a bit lucky. There are some reasons which should have been fatally flawed, we should have seen early. But we always were paranoid, so we always had backups which could carry through. You know, this is a subject of entrepreneurship. I can talk and probably write a book on. Actually, I did. Then they said corporate ethics is that all that happened in a board should not be published. So they've remained in a book, yet to be published. There are a lot of events like this. What is its relevance to you? The relevance to you is, this is something which it's my fond hope, I'm sure that most of you will take this up as a possibility. When you work for a company, there's a job which you have created for yourself. When you become an entrepreneur, you create hundreds of jobs, thousands of them. If you're very successful, tens of thousands. And if you're super successful, more than 100,000. Our country needs some of you to take this and take a shot at this. Okay. We are very, very well prepared. You know, a lot of us were not prepared well enough. You have the theoretical background, you know, you have studied something which will come in handy, that, you know, this is what in the case study, there is something similar to this which you can pick. Okay. It's like I was there in a meeting. This was now, I don't participate in business. I was there in the meeting nevertheless. They talked about adjacencies. Okay. That means you are in a business, something adjacent. You would have learned this. Xerox machine is the paper and the copier accessories. Are they the main business or the copier the main business? Which is the main one, which is the adjacent one? You would have learned it many times. And when you get into business as such, you many times just ignore that there are adjacencies walking by which are great business opportunities. So there are translation of what you studied into what you come to face in life. There are many which you are fortunately having the background of. With these, I wish each one of you great success. Remember today, most of you have jobs, so you don't have to go and watch films. And all the flourishing, great future, and the best wishes to you. Bye.